All right, Bears post-game show. Bears lose to the Broncos 31-28, 0-4, presented by Miller Lite, mid-show, Eddie, Chief, White Sox, Dave. Pain, torture, awful, disgusting. I don't know the right words to even say at this moment. It's drastically different of a post-game show than I thought we were going to cut a half hour ago or an hour ago. But yeah, this is where we are.
A new way to be disappointed. That's you thought they had invented all the ways to like rip your heart out, and then you blow a 28-7 halftime lead at home with like that fumble. That was Justin Fields' best game, but that fumble ruined the day. It's almost like you can't even give him credit for how well he did throwing the ball. I think at one point he was 23 of 25 for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like that's about as good as we've ever seen him play. And it's ruined with the knowledge that the Broncos gave up 70. They're one of the worst defenses in the league. You couldn't do anything in the second half. And then that fumble, which tied the game, just fucking killed him. It killed him.
Yeah, statistically through the air, that was his best game ever. That was his only 300-yard game. So, yeah, there's that. Like I said, it was if I thought obviously I thought we were going to win, and I was going to say this is a choose your own adventure kind of win. Obviously we beat the Broncos. They look like the worst team I've seen in a while. So you could be, glass half empty, or could be glass half full. If we win Thursday, things are back in it. And we have a chance to make things interesting and exciting. But like we said earlier in the week, we knew that if we lost this game, it's over. And it's effectively over. You can't lose to a team like that. That is a garbage team. And that when we lost to them. So what does that say? It's
They're horrible, and they looked horrible in that game. Like
yeah.
the mistakes that they would make, their tackling is fucking atrocious. The Broncos, like I was watching that game, like this is one of the worst teams I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Thinking that they're going to be the team to go 0-4, and somehow the Bears find a way to piss it away. Like it was hard to piss that game away. Like it was hard for them to do, and they found a way.
It's almost like they took their foot off the gas too, and like the Bears are in no position to take their foot off the gas against them at all. There's so many moments you could look back at.
That 4th and 1.
What'd you say? Yeah, the 4th and 1, obviously. I truly didn't hate going for it in the moment. I didn't. Obviously, I didn't love the play call. You run from a shotgun, 4th and 1. I think we did this against Green Bay last year too, and there was a big snafu. And then the next press conference, there was like a statistical check about how it's actually beneficial about going out of shotgun and 4th and 1. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't agree with it. They ran the Eagles push play successfully twice last week. I don't know why. We just didn't try to do that and get the yard and then keep it moving and then score and then give the Broncos the ball back with little to no time left. But we did what we did, and now we are worse off for it, and we're 0-4.
Are they worse off for it?
Well, listen.
This guy went in, Ed, when they fumbled that ball, this guy went into a laughing fit. A laughing fit.
What kind of laughing fit? Because there is different types of laughing.
I was laughing like Walter White was laughing when he found out that Skyler gave all his money away to Ted Beneke in the crawl space. I think that's very appropriate. You've seen it all. I'm just over being pissed about my sports teams. All I'm going to do is laugh in their face. Like, I wish I weren't laughing in their face like that. But saying I was rooting against them, how's that not hilarious? How's it not hilarious that on round 12 since Lovie Smith, that they're in the exact same spot in year 2 as they have been on their last 4 fucking tries? It's funny.
I guess maybe, I don't know. The way that was different was that we finally saw Fields have a good game. Like you finally saw him have a good game. And like Ed said at the beginning, it's like a choose your own adventure thing. You could be excited for one more game. Like the Bears would be better off if Justin Fields was convincingly the guy and taking positive steps forward. Like however you want to cut it, this is a lost season, but I think a lot of people before the year said they just want to see Justin Fields look like a true franchise quarterback. And for the first time ever as a passer, he, granted against the Broncos, whatever, he was looking like that. He was hitting throws on time, hitting guys in stride, throwing touchdown passes, extending plays, eyes downfield. It was all looking good. And then when you have a thing like that, it goes, oh, fuck, well, maybe it is Caleb Williams.
He was getting the ball out quickly.
Yeah.
They got DJ Moore involved a lot. For the first time, it looked like Cole Kmet had a consistent presence rather than like, oh, that was great 2 times a game. That's Cole Kmet still on the team. He had his, rather than his his quarterly good game, it would look like there was a real rapport that he formed with him there. And yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, sure, like listen, Eberflus, he's obviously not it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not it. We know that.
Yeah, I think, the fact that they couldn't come up with anything in the second half, no points in the second half for that team. When they were moving the ball, they looked crisp offensively.
And they even ran the ball with more success than they have.
Yeah.
So far this year. The offensive line did a good job run blocking. And granted, like I know they're not playing world beaters. Like there were so many times where the Broncos were like, who did you guys even have guys on defense? It almost seemed like they were playing against air for a little bit there. But run block wise, I thought the offensive line did well. And I thought against the pass, in pass blocking situations, they had a lot of fuck ups though. A lot of penalties, a lot of mental errors like that. I don't know, man. This is bad. This is really bad.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's like, where do you even go? There's nothing left to play for. Like, and that was the thing. Like, even now, like, how many more games like that statistically does Justin Fields have to have for you to believe that he could be the guy? Like, everything is just about him now. And that's why that fumble bothered me and the interception at the end bothered me. And it's because it was like, all right, if you lose the game, you don't want to lose from up 28-7. But if you lose that game, but you come away being like, all right, well, maybe there is something there, because you don't want to have, like, when we talked about the polls and the plan and all that even if Justin Fields isn't the guy necessarily, you can make an argument that it's still on the train tracks. We're still moving forward. We're going to have 2 high picks. We're building out this team. It's going to take more than one off season to turn over a roster. You're better off without having to press reset on the quarterback. So even if they're bad and you have 2 top 10 picks, well then, but you feel good enough about Fields. Well, it's like go out and get the Penn State left tackle and go get Marvin Harrison Jr. or whoever the best corner is to play opposite of Jalen Johnson or Tariq Stevenson. That's the best case scenario. And it's like, you're fine. Like, that's all, like, at this point, that's where my brain is just getting Fields to the point where it's like, he might still be the future, where you can't end a second half like that and still feel that way. And that's why it's disappointing, because it's still about the long term. But changes need to happen everywhere.
I agree with that. I think that was well put.
Like, going back to what you were saying all week, you trusted Peyton to make a necessary adjustment coming off getting beat by 1,000 against Miami, then Eberflus coming off getting beat by 1,000 against Kansas City. And I think we kind of saw a little bit of a microcosm of that in this game today. Obviously the Bears steamrolled in the first half, but they were inept offensively and defensively in the second half. And I don't see where that is, other than on coaching. Obviously, like Ed says, he didn't mind going for it. How do you not take the points right there? And twice, Tyler Scott had a little end around where he got like positive yards, like 10-yard carries a piece, both times under 4 minutes, I believe, 4.5 minutes. The second one being with about 2.5 minutes left, he didn't go in bounds. That's something that you're taught in high school, or he didn't get tackled and stay in bounds. He just ran off and the clock stopped. No one said a word about it. I didn't know why. But if he does that once, you fucking stop him as a coach and you go, hey, dude, fall down in bounds. Like we have the lead right now. We need to milk as much clock off as we can. And he did it again. And no one fucking said a word. Coaching staffs, obviously, it's not going to happen, but they should all be fired immediately. Immediately. I'm not quite ready to say that about Poles yet, but I mean, he built the worst roster in all of football. Or, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what Arizona does the rest of the way, Carolina, but it's a mess. It's a total mess. It's very bad.
Arizona won last week. They looked pretty good, so they're finding ways to do.
They play San Francisco now, and I don't see them winning that game. But
still, they still have a one on the board, and we don't.
So beat Dallas, who's got a playoff aspirations. So
yeah.
Sure. I mean, it's weird though. You say that too. I guess it was kind of a three-headed monster, right? Where is it the play calling? Is it Justin Fields? Is it the defense? Listen, the defense obviously they bent and they broke in the second half. They gave up 24 points. Justin Fields with the fumble, and then Getsy, who I thought called a pretty damn good game, and Fields played a pretty damn good game the whole way through. Getsy has kind of a blunder call at the end. So
he had a few that he got away with too. He did that stupid fucking quarterback sneak with Komet earlier in the game.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't like that either. It was that was so slow moving too, and it was like, wait, what is going on?
And you saw it coming. The entire field saw it coming. Everyone saw him go in motion, and it's like, oh fuck, here we go again. It's just lucky he fell forward. So I'm not even giving a pass. It's like
any decent team that had some
defense today.
Yeah, any decent team that had some big boys up front stops that Cole Kmet play. You're right about that. Yeah, I don't know. All three phases of what I just said were good in the first half, and then seemed to buckle or have at least one game-changing moment in the second. So,
why were you okay with that 4th and 1?
Me?
Yeah, going for it.
I mean, the Bears were kind of having their way on offense. They were moving the ball at will. I sat there, and when it looked like they were going to do it initially, they got in the hurry up. And then they changed. I was fine with it then. I was like, all right, like, get this, I think there were still 3.
But it's a tie game, Ed. It's a tie game. If they're down and they're going for the win instead of they're tied, been like, fuck it, go for it. But it's a tie game.
Here's the other part of that bothers me. Eberflus not going for it on 4th and 2 on the positive side and the 50 on the first drive. Like, you had a little bit of something going. And they did score 28 points in the first half after that. But it's like, if we're going to be a team that's going to, play the analytics and go for it and set the tone and beat balls and all that, that felt like a more appropriate moment to go for it than than taking 3 points off the board in a tie game late. That to me, like, and also, like, if you're going to go for it, I don't. You're right that they were kind of having their way with them. It felt like a lot of those were like off guard plays in not an obvious running situation. So it's like I don't even like just doing a straight dive to Khalil. It was Khalil Herbert had the ball too, right? At least maybe put in Roschon if you're just like, hey, like, we're gonna have a guy who's just gonna put his bow his neck and get a yard. They just, I don't know. It's almost like you want to see something else in that spot, and then. That not going for it on 4th and 2 on the first drive bothered me more than that. I'd rather just take decide what kind of team you're going to be. And in that moment, if it's like, hey, like, we don't trust our short yardage game. That's why we're going this fucking gimmicky Cole Kmet. That's why we're punting on 4th and 2 to then come out and run that when you haven't shown signs all year that you believe in your short yardage game. That is just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Take the points and let's just, or try to.
I think the defense is really starting to fall off there at the end. I think if we get 3 there, that they got down into field goal range like that.
Yeah,
it was like that. If they would have had the opportunity,
yeah.
What do you say?
They had the one big play.
Yeah. I mean, it was one big play, and they already got down to field goal range. I don't think I wasn't confident either that uh obviously the Bears D was going to hold up there. Judy was starting to get going. Russ kind of settled in. I don't think he even played that poorly. Um, but yeah, no, I didn't. I truly did not hate the decision at all to go for it. Of course, damned if you do, damned if you don't. They didn't get it, so
Yeah.
I don't begrudge you for being like, well, what do you mean? Why didn't they do that? But um, yeah, I mean that's where we are now. We go from I don't know, man. Having a hopeful season at the beginning, or just looking to improve to genuinely being right where we were last year. So Eberflus is 3-21.
That's that's almost impossible in the NFL. Like that's
Yeah,
really who is the old guy from the Browns? Hugh Jackson is like the record. I think went 0-31 or something like that, right? Didn't he have
he won 0-16, then they went 15-1
yeah.
like next
But it's
year.
like that's the company he keeps
Yeah,
with that type of record. So
yeah,
it is time and it's just it's I cannot believe that we're at this low a month into the year. Like
yeah. It's
that
crazy. Yeah,
unbelievable.
October 1st. You're like,
Yeah.
it's still fucking hot out in this city, and you're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like people aren't even wearing sweatshirts to games yet. People aren't even.
I do think, and they showed the crowd seemed like they were into it too. Like they felt like there was a little bit of Scott Hansen shouted him out. You saw, big plays earlier that guys, the crowd was getting up, they're beating on things. It wasn't like the
Dude,
crowd.
everyone was into it.
Yeah,
Everyone was into it at home. Like there
yeah,
was something to what I kept teasing it all week. There was something to getting excited about this Thursday night game. There was something to that. There really
absolutely.
was. Now it's like, how could you even get up for this? You know?
Yeah, and I mean, and it's like that's at Washington. They're in a dogfight right now with Philly. I can hear Max and PFT screaming at each other, big boy football and all that. But like those look like Commanders look like a real team, and far from perfect, but they got big guys on defense and they play hard. They got playmakers on offense. Like that could be real. That could be an ugly, ugly fucking
They
game.
That's
could. They
going to
got
be a very ugly game based on what I saw out of Washington today.
Yeah.
they got more balls than us, man. That's
Oh,
for sure.
big time.
And when balls matters in a game where balls matters, it's not going to bode well for us. I don't care if people want to have their jokes at Sam Howell or whatever, but
He competes.
what'd you say?
He competes. That Sam Howell competes. I've never seen it like it's a meatball thing to say, but he doesn't slide when he needs a
It's
yard.
not. I've learned a lot over the years, and dudes who compete, they outperform their statistical outputs sometimes, like a lot of times.
They do. They do.
Yeah.
It's not a meatball take. The analytics guys would fucking shit their pants if you said that, but fuck them.
Shea
Where do you go from here, fellas?
Yeah, Stephen Shea is probably puking if he heard that comment, but
Yeah,
that's
probably.
We're gonna ride it out, obviously, and I think like Chief said, it's kind of all about Fields, but you're not in a good situation, even if he performs well, because I mean you're in a better situation, of course, if he performs all right. But even if he's not, then you got to decide who's going to be the person that has the controller with him, right? And
Mhm.
then I'm not sold on polls at all. I'm really not. I
at
think
all. At
no.
all.
So
And
it's
that,
like you take it a layer up with that. Obviously, like the base layer needs to be smoked, So you need to fire the base layer,
but this is also Poles' guy, and we've played hindsight 2020 with some of his moves at the draft and free agency and last year too. So I mean the Claypool thing, we didn't even talk about him. So he was a healthy scratch today after he had that smug little fucking locker room interview where they asked him, like, are they putting him in a position to use his talents? He just goes, no. So, like, yeah, fuck you, dude. That's like 3 strikes and you're out. He had the issue on the sideline last year with Fields. He had the thing where he had to apologize to his teammates not 3 weeks ago for not even fucking trying as an NFL football player. And then he has that little comment, and it's just like, you can't get through one fucking week without having something embarrassing happen to this team. So I was glad that they sat him down because he probably deserved it, well before that. But like that trade looks horrendous now for Bulls, and I liked it at the time because they needed guys. But if he's like that guy's just a fucking asshole, and it just makes me think that like the culture's rotten there too. And I kind of think that I wrote I've seen people speculate about Harbaugh. I wrote that blog about Harbaugh. I don't know if Harbaugh would leave or whatever, if it was Caleb Williams, if he gave enough money. But I do like the idea of hiring like a real like football coach guy, and giving him the keys to run everything. So like you are the head coach and the GM, or figure out football operations however you want to structure it. But ultimately every decision goes back to like the man in charge. And that was, and I don't know who that could be. But I'm ready to move on from this whole regime.
Yeah, I mean Kevin Warren and George McCaskey, their office is going to be one that I wish I had some ears in, because it's all on their shoulders now, because they have gone nowhere fast. The 2023 Chicago Bears. Excuse me, he's 3-17, not 3-21. But still, the point remains, it's not very good. Yeah. All right. I guess we could wrap it there. This was a rapid reaction we recorded today, directly after the game. So I'm sure we'll find out more as the week goes on, and we'll talk more about it in the Thursday episode. But for now, that's it. Thanks again to Miller Lite. At least that's one thing you kind of throughout the season, right?
Oh, Miller Lite's the best. I'm going to go back and have some of those today. Get ready to watch Bedard, our only shining light in this city, and it's just going to be all Miller Lites all the time.
Yeah. Yep, that's it. Enjoy your Miller Lite, whether you're watching the Bears, Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, it doesn't matter. Or MLB playoffs coming up. Make sure you get a case of Miller Lite ready for you. You get a 24 delivered right to your door. You go to MillerLite.com/Redline, or you can find it anywhere that they sell beer. Just make sure you celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories, 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Thank you to Miller Lite. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. We will see you guys on Tuesday. See you guys on Thursday. And
maybe see you on Friday if we do another one of these after Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll be recording too. So, all right then, guys. We'll see ya.